right, we're doing it. We're here. I want to first off apologize to you guys that it's taken me so long to upload a video onto this channel. If I'm honest, I just didn't know what or how I wanted this channel to look, the way that I wanted to approach it. I have decided that I want it to be more of a podcast style, so I can just sit and talk with you guys and hopefully have other people who are willing to come and talk to me with you guys about various topics. I'm not really sure, but while all of that was happening, I decided that I'm just going to just start uploading it onto YouTube. I don't know for sure how podcasts work, so this is my first time doing something like this, and I got this really nice microphone. I hope that it's making my voice sound nice. For those of you who are just listening and not watching, if you're watching, I hope that it's also making my voice sound nice. If you're watching, you can also see that I am not dressed. This is a sleeping shirt. I still have my headscarf on. I have no makeup. I did just put on this wig because I'm going to film a video later, but enough of this. You guys are, no one gives a shit about any of the stuff that I'm blabbing about right now. Okay, so welcome to the Peaceful Bitch. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so happy to be doing this. It feels really, really nice. I wanted to create a space where I could just literally just sit and talk because I feel like I have so many things to say. Sometimes I want to throw up and I have nowhere to really let that out where I'm not feeling like I'm annoying people or that people care to hear me talk. And some people still might be annoyed, but you know what? Thank you for listening anyway. If you are the person who is annoyed by my talking, thank you so much for supporting me anyway, for being here in this very moment. But I do suggest that you go and do something and be with someone or listen to someone who doesn't annoy you. That's just my tip, little fun tip. Stop doing things you don't want to do. We're sidetracked again. What is up, you guys? So, the Peaceful Bitch. I decided to call this podcast the Peaceful Bitch because I think it perfectly describes who I am as a person. I am peaceful. I choose peace. I choose compassion. I choose kindness. I choose love. Unfortunately, we are living in a three-dimensional reality where being a bitch is still very much necessary. I read a lot of books and listen to a lot of videos of spiritual monks and gurus talking about enlightenment and being really peaceful and giving people love and not being offended and all of that stuff that is excellent if you're going to live in the Himalayas, like literally amongst other people who also believe and live by those principles. I think that's great. If you're living in the city, more specifically, I live in Los Angeles, you got to keep that grit to you. You know what I mean? You got to keep that part of you that will allow people to know that you are not someone they want to fuck with. Does that make sense? Another thing I should know, we are going to be cursing on this channel. I have tried to refrain from cursing as much on my main channel so that I can remain family friendly. A lot of people tell me that they watch those videos on my main channel with their kids. I feel like I'm talking a million miles a minute right now. Sorry. A lot of people tell me that they watch the main videos on my channel with their kids, so I've tried to refrain from cursing there and limit the amount of cursing that I do, but fair warning, we're going to be cursing on this channel because I curse in real life. You know what I mean? I'm a cursor. What does that even mean, Sydney? Okay. So, the Peaceful Bitch is going to be about learning to really cultivate the inner peace inside of you. I do feel like I've come a long way in learning how to truly be at peace internally, how to truly be happy inside of me, and it has been a long time coming, and it's definitely something that I've struggled with. I've been open on my main channel about depression and mental illness, and I do still get depressed. I mean, you're going to be depressed as a human, but it's all about learning how to manage that vibration and manage really all of our emotional vibrations. So this podcast, we're going to be talking about spirituality, emotions, feelings. I guess feelings and emotions are the same thing, but we're going to be talking about all the kinds of things that, on my main channel, I do feel like it can be a bit alienating, but for those people who are seeking this kind of information, seeking this kind of awareness, I love talking about it, so why not create a space where we could just do that? That's what we're going to do. That's what we're doing here. We're also going to be talking about politics. We're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about a lot of the things that people are afraid to talk about, that I am afraid to talk about. I am deathly afraid of being attacked by the internet. You guys know, like, have you ever seen those movies or, you watch like an old film from sometime way, way back, and they're like burning someone at the stake or they're chopping someone's head off, and there's like a crowd of people who are just cheering and like getting so amped up to see someone die in the most heinous and terrible way. And you're like, how the hell are these people okay with that? Why would these people want to see someone burning? Or why did they show up to watch someone's head get chopped off? The internet is the modern day version of that. We show up to see people's lives get obliterated and ruined. I don't understand why, but being a personality on the internet and being willing to put yourself out on the internet, you run the risk of being that person, the person getting their head chopped off every single time you upload. So I've been really working to get over that fear, get over that debilitating anxiety around being that person. And the only way to overcome that fear is to face it. So here we are. This podcast, this channel, we're only going to talk about things from a place of love and from a place of compassion. And hopefully we get that in return. You only get the energy that you put out into the world. I like to think that I'm a very compassionate and kind person, and so far that's what I've gotten back. I have had one hiccup where I did a video and it wasn't too well received. Maybe we'll talk about that in another episode, but today's episode is going to be about empath survival skills. I had a lot of you guys ask me to talk about this, to talk about the ways that I have been able to overcome a lot of the really heavy emotions that you get from being an empath and really feeling the emotions of the people around you, the world, people you don't know, people you see on TV. And it is difficult. I did struggle with it for a while. I still struggle, honestly. I'm not perfect. I don't have everything figured out at all. I don't think anyone does. I think anyone who tells you they have it figured out don't trust those people. Fuck those people. You know what I mean? They don't have it fucking figured out. Are you kidding me? Maybe they do. Let me not rain on anyone's parade. Maybe they do. But I don't know anyone who does. And I don't trust anyone who claims to. So you shouldn't either. So, what is an empath? First off, what is an empath? I would say everyone is an empath. What we hear and see a lot now online and in the media is this idea that being an empath is sort of like a superpower, which it is. But I do think that every human being is capable of empathy. We are all capable of empathy unless you are a diagnosed psychopath or sociopath. And those are really hard calls to make. Not always. Some people definitely just exhibit being just straight up psychopaths. But for the most part, everyone is capable of empathy and understanding. Most people are reasonable and empathetic. Empaths, however, I do feel have a heightened awareness of themselves and the world around them, which makes them have a heightened sense of empathy. And it is painful. It's really, really, I don't know any other word to describe it, but it fucking sucks sometimes. So yeah, I've come up with a couple of things that I feel have helped me tremendously in being an empath and being empathetic, and I'm going to share with you guys. I hope that I'm not talking, I feel like this is so long-winded because it's not a conversation. I'm literally just talking into a microphone, into a camera, to myself, but I hope that I'm going to be able to reach with you guys and connect you guys. This is strange. Shout out to the people who podcast alone and kill it, because this is not easy. This is weird. What the hell? What is going on, Sydney? Okay, let's do it. So, empath survival skills. The first one that I have is to learn to protect your energy. How do you do that? Firstly, you need to be able to notice energy. A lot of times, with me especially, I didn't realize that I was taking on the energy, the emotions of the people who were around me. So if I was feeling really sad or really depressed, I automatically assumed that it was me. And if I couldn't find a reason as to why I was feeling that way, I got even more distressed because I'm like, I have no reason to be sad. I have no reason to be upset. Why am I feeling this way? What you realize is sometimes it is you. And for me, I can usually retrace my thoughts and pinpoint why exactly I'm feeling a certain emotion. But when I can't find a reason, or when I'm by myself and I feel fine, I feel okay, and then I get a call from my sister, for example, and we're not talking about anything in particular. She's just kind of talking to me about her day, or something random, and I start feeling sad. I start feeling like, oh no, what's going on? What's going on? And I'll ask her, like, are you doing okay? Is everything okay? And then she'll tell me. Had I not asked, and had I just assumed that it was me who was feeling those feelings and then getting distressed because I didn't understand why I was feeling those feelings, I would just dive deeper into that sadness. So firstly, you have to be able to recognize where you are emotionally. I like to use this thing called the emotional scale. If you've watched any of my makeup and mindset videos that I uploaded last year on my main channel, then you know that I've talked about the emotional scale to no end. I fucking love the emotional scale. I think everyone should have the emotional scale or something like it hanging up, look at it first thing in the morning or just throughout the day. And it lists the emotions. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. If you're listening, I'll just put it in the description box so you can find it. It lists all of the emotions that, like a wide range of emotions that we feel as human beings. And sometimes just looking at it and being able to see an emotion, it really helps you to negate the problem or negate how to get out of feeling that way. So sometimes we think we are feeling distressed and we're feeling sad, hopeless. But we might look at the emotional scale and see that overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed. That emotion matches a lot more to how I'm feeling. And then you can say, okay, wait, why am I overwhelmed? I have too many things to do. I don't know if I have enough time to do them. Then you can start investigating that feeling and really getting down to what is going to make me feel less overwhelmed. I hope that makes sense. All right, so once you're able to notice your feelings and emotions, then you can start to realize when those feelings and emotions change based on who you're around, what you're watching, what you're looking at on social media. All of these things affect your emotions. I will say this as well. Emotions are our energy frequency. So whatever emotion that you're feeling, that's the energy frequency that you're giving out. We don't always know what people's emotions are. There's no like sign written on people's foreheads that say, oh, I'm feeling angry today. Sometimes if you're touching the mic, if you're an empath and you're empathetic, you might feel that someone is angry even if they aren't exactly exhibiting that anger. But for some people who aren't really self-aware yet, you might just see someone tweet something and you're like, why do I feel so like tense right now? Why do I feel so much anger right now? They're talking about eating a cupcake. That energy still exists, even if it doesn't feel like it's tangible and real. It still exists. And when you're interacting with people on social media and you get those emotions, try distancing yourself, especially if it's someone that you don't know. Just try distancing yourself and giving yourself space, because it's no use in lowering your vibrational frequency, your emotions, because of someone that you don't know. But that'll be in our next point. Same with movies, TV shows. I don't watch movies or TV shows that make me feel bad. I used to love scary movies. And then I got to a point where I was like, why am I watching this? Like, I am choosing to be anxious and terrified right now. And I genuinely feel that in my body. I would feel it in my body for days after I was done watching the movie. Why? Why am I doing this to myself? Why am I watching a show, a movie that makes me feel like shit? One of the things I stopped doing a couple years ago was watching movies that had to do with slavery, with segregation, in America specifically. Watching those things and seeing how people who looked like me were treated in America didn't do anything for me. Like, I understand that those movies are made for the purposes of sharing stories and sharing, perspectives. For me personally, it didn't give me new perspectives. It just made me sad and upset. And I realized, why am I watching this? Why am I doing this to myself? Why? So I stopped watching them. I don't watch movies about slavery, segregation, sadness, nonsense. I don't watch movies that are geared towards inciting fear, inciting anxiety in people. None of it. No. Good. Next, you're going to want to learn how to create a mental force field. Now, this is going to sound a bit strange, but I like to mentally imagine that I have a shield around me, especially when I'm going out into public, if I'm in large crowds, if I'm going to be around people who I don't know, who I don't feel comfortable asking, how they're feeling and what's going on, because then it's really hard to understand where the emotions are coming from. Even if you know they aren't yours, they will still affect you. It's helped me tremendously to take a break, close my eyes before I go anywhere, close my eyes, and just imagine like a force field around me. I don't know why this helps. I think it has something to do with some sort of spiritual, metaphysical reason I don't have yet, but it really tremendously does. It really does help a ton to not allow those energy fields to come in, because you're like a sponge. Empaths and people who are really, really self-aware are like sponges. We just absorb everything that's happening around us, which can be exhausting. So imagining a force field for me has been epic, really, really nice. I hope that this sound is doing well. I don't know. I can't be sure that the sound is doing really well. This microphone is very intense, and I'm hoping that it's not super loud. Anyways, okay, moving on. Number 2, minimal social media and news. I've talked about this briefly in number 1, but I can't stress this enough. Get off of social media. It is still an energy exchange, whether you realize it or not. There are so many studies now that have come out saying that since social media has happened, the rise in suicide has happened, the rise in depression which probably leads to the suicide. It's a great thing, don't get me wrong. I think anything that is super good can also be as equally bad, and I would not have a job, a life, or career. I'm not going to say life. I would still have a life if not for social media, but I would not have a job, and I would not be able to do what I'm doing right now, which is speaking and talking to you guys about something that I'm very passionate about, if not for social media. I don't know that it would reach as many people in such a short amount of time. So I'm not shitting on social media. I do love social media. I have to be aware, though, that it is very damaging if I'm not controlling it. If I'm not in control of what I'm consuming and what I'm allowing to be put into my brain, then it can be very bad and very dangerous. So minimal social media if you can. Stop looking at it. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop engaging with, following people who make you feel like shit. The mute option right now on Twitter and Instagram, the best thing ever. I learned the hard way. So last year I went on a social media cleanse, and I unfollowed a lot of people who I just either, when I looked at their content, it didn't inspire me anymore, or it didn't inspire me at all. And maybe I was just following them because I felt like that's the nice thing to do. Someone follows you, you follow them back. Or maybe it was people who I had been watching or who had inspired me before, and it wasn't there for me anymore. And I was realizing that I was allowing people's content to come into my mind when I didn't have to, and it was taking up a lot of space. So I unfollowed a lot of people. And it was not any, like, fuck this person, I don't want to follow them anymore. I unfollowed a lot of people And then I learned that people take that really, really personally. They take it really personally. I have noticed when someone has unfollowed me and I'm like, wait, what? What did I do? Why did you unfollow me? But I never take it personally. Like, I never internalize it. Like, okay, well, fuck you too then, you know? Some people I noticed unfollowed me, but I still follow them because I still enjoy their content or I like their content. People take it really, really, really personally when you unfollow them. So I didn't know that. I do now, though. And I'm so thankful for the mute options because I don't want to create another problem out of nothing to me. It's nothing to me, but for some people it means a lot. So being respectful of that, sometimes you just mute them. You know, that's the best option. I have a lot of respect for people, though, who just unfollow and don't give a fuck. I give a fuck. I don't want to feel like I'm upsetting people. And if you feel that way as well, mute them. Mute. Mute's good. As far as looking at news, a lot of people are getting their news from social media, which I think is kind of harmful because it's really sensationalized on social media. I would definitely probably cut back on the news as much as possible. If you do feel really passionate about something happening in the world, you want to do something about something happening in the world, make sure that you're not allowing the problem to become your energy frequency, because then you're not going to solve the problem, you're just going to become the problem. Does that make sense? If homelessness, for example, is something that you're really, really passionate about. In Los Angeles, there's a huge homelessness problem. That has a very low vibrational frequency. Maybe not for everyone, but for most people, it is a very sad, hopeless, depressing energy frequency, which is at the very bottom. If you're looking at that problem too much and you start feeling that emotional frequency, it's time to take a step back, revamp, do something that makes you feel good, makes you feel happy, and then you can address the problem from a higher frequency, because if you're at the lower frequency, there isn't much you can do. You just become the problem. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And that's for any problem. Any problem that exists in the world. Observe the problem without becoming the problem in order to solve the problem. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Number 3, understanding that compassion starts and ends with you. Oh no. Whoops. Okay. Sorry. I thought the microphone stopped recording. Number 3, understanding that compassion starts and ends with yourself. It is not narcissistic or selfish to prioritize your emotions and feelings. It is not mean or rude to require that of other people, require that of the people around you, even your children. We want to take on the emotions of our children, and to some extent you should, but you have to teach people, or people, better yet, let's not say you have to teach people. People have to learn how to manage their emotions for themselves. It's similar, I mean, I don't have a baby, but I imagine it's like when you're trying to get your baby to go to sleep on its own, you're trying to teach your baby to self-soothe so that the baby will fall asleep without needing you to be there to coddle them. That is how we need to treat people, and it is difficult, you guys. I'm telling you, it is difficult. But once you get that kind of mentality into your head, understand you're not hurting anyone by not allowing them to hurt you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. We need to give back responsibility. As empaths especially, it's so important to give back responsibility to people for their own emotions. It's not your responsibility to feel for everyone. It literally solves nothing if you're feeling other people's sadness. You're not helping them get through the sadness. You're only making yourself sad as well. It's the same thing as matching the problem. You guys, I am babbling. Am I babbling? I really sincerely hope that this is making sense and I'm not just like talking into thin air, because that's kind of how it feels right now, you guys. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of feels like I'm talking into thin air, but you know what? I'm getting this out. I want to get this out. I have to get out what I need to say and at least start. And the last and final step is going to be prayer and meditation. Pray, meditate. To me, they're the same thing. understanding that there is something bigger than all of us, than everything happening, that is a driving force for everything that's happening. And learning to surrender to that has been my greatest gift, is just trusting that I'm not doing this all alone, and that I'm protected, because you are. You just have to tap into that protection and ask for it, and surrender to it, and be grateful to it. Show up to meditate and pray every day, and say thank you and have gratitude. The world is tense right now. The world is tough. There's a lot of things going on, which we can talk about in another episode. But for this episode, I want to wind it down. I want to wind this video down. I do feel like I have blabbed so fucking much, and I hope that it's not off-putting for anyone. I promise maybe I'm going to try and get a better format for this, but I wanted to just try to upload one video at least to start, one episode to start. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful to anyone out there listening. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Not gonna lie, like, I feel crazy right now because I am just sitting and talking to myself, just talking, but it's actually very therapeutic. I love this. I love just being able to sit and talk and not have to worry about the angle or the lighting or my makeup, because that's what I was doing before with the makeup and mindset, is doing my makeup while I'm talking about these kinds of things. So yeah, I'm so glad that I've found this and that I've sat down and actually started doing it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know any feedback that you have down below in the comments. Yeah, I don't want to make this too long. We're at 26 minutes right now. 26 minutes. Maybe I'll make the episodes longer, but I'm thinking 30 minutes is pretty good. I think 30 minutes is... I feel like 30 minutes is pretty... I think that's okay. So yeah. Yeah, guys, this is it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the first episode of the Peaceful Bitch. I hope that these empath survival skills help you in some way. Please feel free to comment down below and ask more questions. I will be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Or if you have other tips, if you have other survival skills as an empath, please include those down in the comments below. We need more sharing of information. Knowledge is wealth. So please, if you have things that work for you that I didn't mention here or in a different way, share. Share, you guys. Sharing is caring. All right. Wow, that wraps up episode 1. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Mwah, bye. I just kissed the microphone. That was weird. Bye.